On today's episode of You Asked, well, we're all in mourning after another delay to the release of Grand Theft Auto 6, but we'll still be answering your questions in anticipation. And in a world of so many OLED TV choices, which one pairs well with the PlayStation 5? Welcome back, everyone. I'm Chris Hagan, a video producer at Digital Trends, and this is You Asked, the show where we answer your tech questions. If you've got something you want to know, send your question to youasked@digitaltrends.com, and don't forget to tune in every Sunday at 7:45 a.m. Pacific to see if your question has been selected for the show. Our first question comes from Luna Queenamon, who says, "My 4-year-old LG CX 55-inch TV just went this past weekend. It does reboot loops and a long beep sound. I'm afraid of getting a new OLED TV because of this. So I'm stuck between the LG B4 48-inch or a TCL QM7 55-inch TV. Which one should I choose?" Well, Luna, I think the first question you need to answer here is what's more important, size or OLED level picture quality. If your space was set up for a 55-inch TV and your own viewing preferences lean toward that slightly larger size, I'd go with the 55-inch TCL QM7 over the 48-inch LG B4. The QM7 is a great looking TV, and while you will lose out on a little bit of contrast compared to the B4, not having all the perfect blacks of OLED, you will have a significant leg up in terms of SDR and HDR brightness on the QM7. So in terms of HDR performance, I think there's still plenty of wow factor there. Now, if price is weighing into your decision, we have seen the 55-inch LG B4 drop to $800 before. You may have to wait for that price to come around again, but if it puts the OLED more into the strike zone, it's probably worth the wait to get the ideal picture and size that you like. Now, I also want to address something else that you said. You mentioned being afraid of getting a new OLED TV since you just had an issue with your previous CX. And I totally get that. Something going wrong with a product can certainly push you away from purchasing another similar product. But, and I'm sure you know this, in this world of electronics, sometimes things just happen. LG OLEDs, especially newer and higher tier models, are pretty reliable. And other factors like how hard you push your TV can factor into the equation as well. So in this case, try not to let that keep you from purchasing a B4 if OLED quality is at the top of your priority list over size. The next question comes from Aditi911, who says, "I don't know what to go with anymore. I want an OLED, but there are so many makes and models. It's too complicated. Any recommendations? Which one goes well with the PS5? The C4? The G4? I need answers." Well, answers we have, and it sounds like you've already got your eyes set on a few different choices. And lucky for you, if you haven't purchased yet, the LG C4 and G4 are 2024 models that you can probably get at a pretty solid discount this time of year. The answer is technically that they are both excellent with the PlayStation 5. Both have 4 HDMI 2.1 ports that support 4K resolution with a 144Hz refresh rate and VRR. Both have low input lag, great for first-person shooters where you want that quick response, and both look fantastic with rich, vibrant colors. Personally, I've always admired LG's C-Series OLED TVs because, having spent time with a few of them now, they deliver an incredible picture at a price that's a little bit easier to stomach. And especially if it were primarily used for gaming, say in an office or game room that didn't need to be 65 inches like you might prefer in a living room space, a smaller size can really be a great deal. The LG C4 is available at 42 and 48 inches, while the G4 starts at 55 inches and a significantly higher price at that size as well. But to answer your question and give you a little clarity on the differences, several report that in its game optimizer mode, the HDR brightness with the C4 is dimmer than the G4. We never tested that side by side, so I can't tell you definitively how big of a difference there is, but just thought you should know. But also think about this. If you only put eyes on the C4 and didn't have anything side by side to compare it to, do you think you would notice? If the answer is no, I'd go with the C4. But if you want that extra bit of brightness, not just for gaming, but for SDR and HDR content viewing as well, then I think your answer is the G4. Also, for the gaming folks, stick around because we've got some more later on in this episode on this gaming topic that I think you're not going to want to miss. Next up, a question from Kathy that I truly appreciate because, well, you'll see. She says, I've been watching your videos and at 75 years old, I don't have a clue what you're talking about, or I'm just very confused. I'm sure this will be close to our last TV, so we want one for watching movies and watching Netflix, Hulu, Prime, etc. Our seats are 75 inches from the TV. From what you said, I think we need to get an OLED TV to have a great picture and maybe 55 or 65 inches. We would like to keep it under $1,500 with a soundbar since we just don't hear as well as we used to, hence subtitles on everything. You seem to like Sony the best, but would you please do a video for us oldies? Leave out the technical and just tell us what to buy. Make it very simple and make it plain. There are thousands of us out here that would watch that video because we need major help. We would all appreciate it. Kathy, like I said, I appreciate that question because I agree. Sometimes we just need to shut up and get to the point, right? So I'll do my best here. 75 inches is almost exactly how far I am from my own 65-inch TV at home. So I would recommend a 65-inch TV. It's the perfect blend between giving you a nice big screen to enjoy your favorite shows, but not being too big. However, with a $1,500 budget, including a soundbar, OLED might be a little bit tougher to pull off. Some of the less expensive models just might not be bright enough to satisfy you. Still, if you must go OLED, I'd recommend the LG B4 65-inch OLED TV at around $1,200. Once again, slight step back in brightness, but it is OLED, and in a dark room, it's going to look great. For what may be a little better bang for your buck, I would like to point you towards some mini LED options. They have beautiful image quality, they're generally a bit brighter than OLED, and I think you will love the experience, and they tend to be less expensive. I'm gonna suggest the 65-inch TCL QM851G. This is the 2024 model. It looks like it comes in around $900 right now. At the time of publishing this, the 65-inch TCL QM7K is on sale for $1,100, so that's another option and a 2025 model. I'd also recommend the Hisense U8N, another 2024 model that's a pretty direct competitor to TCL's QM8 with similarly strong performance. Now, in addition to picture quality, I recommend these options from Hisense and TCL because I find the Google TV operating system that these two use a bit easier to work with. It's a clear layout, everything well displayed for all of the apps, the remotes are simple, and the setup isn't too difficult either. Now, I know I gave you like 4 options there, and most of them are not OLED, but like you said, let's keep it simple. These are all excellent TVs, and if you need help with your soundbar purchase, check out our best soundbars video linked in the description and our list of soundbars under $500 at digitaltrends.com. Switching gears a little bit, our next question comes from Rach Martin Media. They say, I'm a professional wedding photographer. I edit a lot, mainly wedding imagery, so high volume. What current MacBook Pro would you recommend? Great question, and one that I can relate to. I do a bit of photography on the side, and for event shoots, yeah, lots of editing can really start taxing your computer. I do my work on a MacBook Pro M2 Max, usually within Adobe Lightroom, sometimes popping into Photoshop at the same time, and often with way too many Google Chrome tabs open. The M2 Max certainly handles that workload, but if I start to open a lot of files in Photoshop at the same time, I find myself needing to start closing a few tabs or other programs to keep things snappy. So all that to say, I'd recommend going with an M3 Max or M4 Max option. The latter will ensure you're very future-proof, but again, with my M2 Max even, I feel no need to upgrade anytime soon. So I think you're good with the M3 Max if you want to save some money. And if you have any external monitor that you do your editing on, don't be afraid to go with a 14-inch MacBook Pro. It's still powerful, but just more portable, just in case you want to work on the go. But I will say, if you do save some money with the M3 Max option and maybe a 14-inch screen, maybe consider spending that saved money on some extra SSD space internally. I have a 1 terabyte drive on my own unit, but I wish I had more. Not to mention, Lightroom and Photoshop cache files and previews are stored on the internal drive, so you'll need a little extra space there to keep things running smoothly. All right, now what a lot of you have been waiting for, the latest on GTA 6 with Senior Gaming Editor Giovanni Colantonio.
Hey everybody, I'm Giovanni Colantonio. I'm the Senior Gaming Editor at Digital Trends, and today we are talking about your comments and your questions about Grand Theft Auto 6. And why are we doing that? Because it has been a surprisingly busy month for a game that is not coming out for a while. Yes, in case you missed the news, Grand Theft Auto 6 is no longer coming out in 2025 as originally planned. It is now slated for a May 26th, 2026 release date. And I'm sorry to be the bearer of bad news if you hadn't heard that yet, but here's some good news. We at least got a new trailer for the game. It is the first look at Grand Theft Auto 6 that we've gotten since December 2023. And it was a much needed update and an impressive one too. This new trailer has gotten millions and millions of views across social media. It is a massive success in that regard, and it has garnered a lot of conversation, including from you, our community members. And I want to read some of those comments because I think it speaks to some things that are really important and interesting about this trailer. So 2 comments that stuck out to me right off the bat that I love back to back. One is from I Need a Break, who says, "As a pure blood Florida man, this game got me smiling from ear to ear, bruh." And then James Moses saying, "Way too realistic." I had a trauma response because it reminded me of family reunions back in the day. James, I agree with that so much. I've got family down in Florida. I've been to Miami a lot of times to visit, and this really does capture something specific about Miami and that South Beach area. And I think that is a big takeaway that we got from this trailer. We didn't learn too much about gameplay or anything like that, and we'll talk about that in a bit, but we do have a better idea of what this game looks like, and honestly, it really does look next-gen. This isn't Grand Theft Auto 5, just scaled up a little bit. Rockstar seems to have gone all out with this thing, really increased the visual fidelity of it. The amount of detail and design in these spaces is kind of incredible. I mean, it looks like a real city and not kind of like a bunch of buildings that we kind of put here and there, assets copied and pasted. Obviously, we're seeing a really directed and specific slice of this game, but I think the effort that's on display here is clear. And the thing I want to shout out isn't even the visual fidelity of it, the photorealistic characters and the really detailed spaces. It's actually the lighting. The thing about Florida is that it has really, really specific light. I mean, it's the Sunshine State for a reason. And I think you just get a specific warmth in the light that you see in these visuals that gets me really excited for this game. It's a tone that I don't think I see a lot in video games. Maybe something like South of Midnight gets it right. It has that sort of deep southern sun. But really excited to see what it's like playing it in the actual game, driving around and seeing that reflect off the windows of your car. That's the kind of stuff that gets me excited. I'm a sicko in that way, but I think that's something that we get a sense of from this trailer, which is really exciting. Tone is actually, in general, a thing that I really am excited about with this trailer, and that's something that you guys noticed as well. So great comment here from Noah Sessler saying, "I really love the grunginess of it. To me, GTA 5 got a bit too clean and too glitzy too fast." And I totally agree. There is a certain grittiness to this image. It almost feels like a Michael Mann movie, if you're familiar with his work. It just has a grit and a sexiness to it and a warmth to it. It's really neat. I don't think it's something that we've really seen exactly from Grand Theft Auto since, I guess, Grand Theft Auto Vice City. And you never know what the tone of a Grand Theft Auto game is going to be going into it. Going into this game, I was kind of like, is this going to be irreverent and jokey Grand Theft Auto? Is it going to be grounded? Or is it going to be like this is, which is a little gritty and like a crime thriller? And I love that they're dialing in on that, and I think that gives me a reason to actually be excited for this game, because I'll let you in on a secret. I've been excited about Grand Theft Auto 6 for a while, of course we all are, but it's not a sight unseen thing for me. With any game, no matter what it is, no matter how excited I am for it, I need to really see a reason to be excited for it. You're not just going to say it's Grand Theft Auto 6 and get me pumped. I want to see a little bit something. You need to prove it to me a little bit, even if you're the biggest franchise in the world. And the first trailer for Grand Theft Auto 6, I mean, yeah, I was like, yeah, this looks cool. we don't know much about this game. Maybe it'll be good. This one actually gives me a reason to be excited for it. I get the tone of it. I get the kind of crime movie feel that they're going for with it. And that, for me, is something to get excited about. I really am looking forward to playing something that plays into Rockstar's cinematic strengths, that gets into this gritty crime tone on next-gen consoles that can really do it justice. I think this trailer really does give us a little morsel of something to be excited about. But there's still a lot more that we don't know about this game, and a lot of your comments and a lot of your questions alluded to that, and I want to get to that. So 2 questions that came up back to back that are on the same thread. One is by Alex. He says, is that actual gameplay or just video fillers? And then Andy said, when do we get to see gameplay? Yes, this trailer certainly is more cinematic. We're not really seeing gameplay. It's unclear if what we're seeing at all is gameplay, but Rockstar actually did clarify this after the fact, and they did say that the trailer is a mix of cinematic and gameplay. Now, I think it's a little hard to tell which is which, because whatever they're doing, they're framing the camera and being really cinematic with it, so there might be things in here that we're seeing that are actual in-engine gameplay, you know, when characters are driving around or in cars, but maybe the camera makes it look like, you know, it's actually a cinematic or whatnot. So it's hard to tell, but from what we know, yes, this is actual gameplay to an extent, or at least filmed in-engine. We know that it's filmed on a PlayStation 5. They have confirmed that. That is fine print in the trailer. But yes, we don't actually know what the game plays like. I think we can guess to a certain extent, right? It's Grand Theft Auto, this thing has a formula, it's gonna play a certain way, but we don't know the moment-to-moment of what does driving around this world actually feel like, what do we do in the world, what do the story missions actually look like, what is the structure of them. That's the stuff that I really wanna know, and honestly, a lot of the questions that we got about this game actually allude to that problem, the fact that we don't know anything about it. I want to point to one question that we got here, asking about the map of the game. A lot of information that we got in the blog post accompanying the trailer talked about all the different locations of the game. Looks really impressive, takes you to a lot of different areas in Florida. And one question that we all got was, but is it all connected, or do you have to load up each location? And the answer is, we still don't know. Rockstar hasn't fully confirmed how this game works yet. I think we can assume that most of this is one interconnected open world because that's usually how Grand Theft Auto games work, but we don't know if there's going to be a little bit of a Red Dead Redemption 2 thing here where there's going to be one area that you ship off to for a mission and that's something you have to fast travel to. We just don't know. And I think that's the thing that's going to make this wait until May 26th next year a little grueling, which is we all, I think, really want to know what this thing actually plays like. We want to see it in motion. We want to see gameplay. We want to know how the open world works. And we just don't have that yet. I am kind of waiting until we see more to really get excited about it, but my impressions so far from this trailer are that, hey, I actually have a reason to be interested in it now. I really like the tone that they're doing. I like the visuals of it. I like what it looks like. I'm excited to meet these characters and see their dynamic a little bit more. This Bonnie and Clyde story is exciting. And again, from the comments that we got, it seems like you guys are excited about a lot of that stuff too. So we will all wait together until May 26th, 2026. Hold on, guys. It's coming. Just another year, hopefully, in case there's a delay. I'm not going to jinx it. May 26, 2026. Hang on, everybody.
Thanks so much, Gio. That's going to do it for us on this week's episode of You Asked. Again, if you want your question answered, get them into youasked@digitaltrends.com and check back with us every Sunday morning. We appreciate you so much every single week for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.